Hi everyone, welcome to the KOSMOSKY channel. I'm Alex, and today I'll be teaching you to play the tongue drum. We've recently released a video on our social media where I demonstrated 8 different playing techniques and asked you to write in the comments which technique you'd like me to explain in more detail first, and the majority of you voted for the playing with a snap technique. Today, you will learn to play it, and I'll show you different variations. But first, let's listen to the way it might sound. Not just as a technique like pure skill, but in improvisation, in the overall performance, how it can be applied and used by you. Today I'll be playing various tongue drums for you. Since there are different note layouts on each of them, I will basically demonstrate the technique on the first, second, and third variations. It's the same thing, though you all have different instruments. Some of you will find it easier to understand on one drum, the others on a different one. Now I'll switch the camera to a top view, as if you're learning from a first-person perspective. Let's start with understanding which fingers are used for this technique. I'll be using the index finger and the thumb. This part of the index finger pad is used, meaning the thumb has the bone. Basically, here are 2 tongues on the drum. For example, if you have a note layout that is shaped as a star, where there are 5 large tongues and 5 small ones, then here, for example, 2 large tongues next to each other. I'll mute all the other ones now. And I'm learning to produce this kind of sound. It's just a beat. The next variation is a beat with a tongue, and I'll tell you about it later. To begin with, our task is to learn precisely this movement so that both fingers come to the instrument simultaneously. It could have been sequential hitting, but that is a different technique. Your goal is for 2 fingers to hit simultaneously, and to do it effortlessly so that you can. Firstly, learn to do it loudly and quietly and quickly. Now let's do the same with the left hand, same fingers. Well, initially we'll just practice and master using each hand separately, the left and the right one, so that later you can mix them when playing. I'll explain further how the beat is applied, which means that you should learn to make 4 hits, essentially. 1, 2, 3, 4, which is the standard count in music. For example, a 4 beat, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright. When playing, different rhythms can be applied to this technique, and the basic approach involves 4 hits, which is the simplest. Today we'll look at a few more variations, but overall, please understand that we are studying the technique of playing itself, how the sound is produced, and what rhythms there are in general, what they can be, and how to apply them. We will discuss this in more detail in our following video lessons. By mastering this playing technique, you will be able to simply pick up any rhythm or compose your own, and then integrate and embed this technique into that rhythm. Now let me show you a simple rhythm. I will be using it for this technique as it's interesting to master, and then I'll explain how to play. Essentially, you should count here. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Which means there are certain accents here when extracting the sound 1, 2, 3. And 1 is stronger than 2, and 3 is slightly weaker. Let's start. 1, 2, 3, a total of kind of like 8 counts, but because of this accentuation, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, then 1, 2. And then again, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Such an interesting pulsation appears. 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Slowly. I also recommend that you experiment with different rhythms on your own. I mean, feel something from within, some kind of pulse, and catch it. Well, I'll show you how as an example. It is a sort of foundation upon which the further tune will be developing. However, it is perfect for mastering your initial steps in playing. Now let me show you how to play the same technique but with a snap. There are two hits. The first, as I initially demonstrated, involves these two fingers of yours, and the second can be done by hitting the drum body with your knuckles in between the drum tongues. At first, your knuckles might be a little painful or feel as if you're getting blisters, but now I don't feel any pain at all. And of course, you shouldn't hit it too hard, you can just do a gentle tapping. For those of you who want to play something like that, it's kind of painful after all, and you don't really want to risk your bones and to get bumps here, so to speak. You can play like this, with slightly different motor skills, but with a similar sound. The interesting thing about playing with a snap lies in the fact that you are bending and straightening the wrist, and this process itself is quite entertaining when playing. And somehow it tunes up nicely on it, meaning you make two completely different movements and mix them together. You mix them, and at first naturally you just hit it in turns. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then you can already start adding some rhythm. Well, you can try learning these for now, naturally, in the lessons themselves, on rhythm. All of this will be explained in more detail. And don't forget to train your left hand so that it develops symmetrically with the right one. That is, you stick to a rhythm on the right side and repeat it on the left one. And of course, you will eventually learn to blend all these snaps into compositions. Right now, you're learning to play the beating patterns separately. Later, you'll learn some picking patterns and other techniques. Eventually, all these techniques can be mixed together, and naturally, your tune will sound better. I mean, not in its pure form, but when you possess a multitude of different techniques and can apply them while improvising, sometimes using one, then another, and at times you don't even know which will follow which, that is, if it's direct improvisation, and it's like a live stream. And it is truly wonderful, but for that, you need to master each of these techniques thoroughly. Master them and spend time doing things like this. It's great to include some kind of rhythm, a metronome. Just, let's say, find backing tracks on YouTube or somewhere else. You basically need a drum pot, some kind of rhythm, and that's it. Just play along with it. Sit comfortably and play around there, at the pace that exists. If with a metronome, you can also start playing slowly, then gradually speed up, setting your own metronome tempo. If you need any details regarding this, let us know in the comments, and I will provide you with more information. For now, it's just a basic overview. let's talk about how this technique can be applied to different tongue drum patterns, and secondly, to the various tongues within this tongue drum. Initially, I demonstrated that you play there with these two tongues with the right hand, but you can also choose other combinations and somehow mix them together. And here, of course, you'll need a picture, a top view, in such a star-shaped note layout, where there are 5 large tongues and 5 small ones, as I already mentioned. You start, for example, with the right hand, hit these two, as well as in such a combination that you can find. Such combinations are already enough to mix some rhythms on them. For instance, even with just one combination of 2 notes, you can use 4 fingers, 2 hands, to beat some kind of rhythm that's going naturally. I mean, if it cannot be played with one hand, or it's simply more difficult for you to play, and you can also use combinations of notes like these, whatever is handy for each of you. But for the most part, I certainly play using this pattern, focusing on these combinations when I need to extract something like this combo or that one. I might actually be applying it in the same style, playing in the same tempo, but this way seems better to me. As you know, tongue drums come with different note arrangements and various layout schemes. On this particular tongue drum, for example, there's a star pattern with 5 large tongues. In small ones, the beating technique is applied in such a way that you hit, for instance, the large tongues mainly, as they create some kind of rhythmic accompaniment, while the small tongues are more accompanying. Although you can combine the beating technique with a large tongue and a small one, and so on. Or, for example, there are such tongue drums with a tongue positioning that is called steps. And here are large tongues, for example, 2 large, 2 large, 2 large, 2 large ones, but they are decreasing. So to speak, on this very star, they are mixed, meaning they are large, then small, then large. And small again, large, small, large, small. And here they are. They go from large to small ones, and basically, on such a tongue drum, the technique of playing with a beat can be performed on any 2 adjacent tongues, because their intervals are already harmoniously arranged, and those whose fingers are flexible enough can even play every other tongue. I'll also show this as a top view and discuss it in more detail, but there are tongue drums on which other manufacturers use different tongue positioning. We use this particular layout, but I know that there are companies that make various configurations, layouts, and sometimes they arrange the tongues in a circle, one after another, in a rising sequence. There are techniques for combining the tongues. They might not work, meaning you might make 2 adjacent tongues sound, and they will produce some kind of unpleasant noise. And here, of course, you need to rely on your own instrument. However, if you have an instrument from KOSMOSKY, you can be sure that all these things I'm talking about work out. Even without knowing the notes, you can simply use these combinations of tongues and they will create harmonious sound. So, I want to briefly mention that you can delve into music theory to learn what your tongue drum is like, what notes it has in particular, and so on, but in general, it's not always necessary. In some cases, while learning to play, you perceive the tongue drum as a normal drum or a tonal drum, so you make sure it looks this way, these are the notes, and so on. And if you don't know the notes, you look at the tongue drum as an instrument that simply has a few sounds or some combinations. So you treat it as a rhythmic instrument that you can play. Without this knowledge, but by applying various rhythms, you can create beautiful and charming music without any other clarification of which notes are currently being played. I mean, essentially, you are playing such tonal fields where the notes are arranged in a step-like manner. And the combination of tongues located next to each other create charming combinations, and every other one too. Here it's up to personal preference, but mostly again I'm playing so that these tongues fit ergonomically in my hand and they are low, creating just the right accompaniment. As for high-pitched tongues, they are more for the tune. I'll show it. basically it's all the same. You'll learn it. It's just that here there are a few more obvious combinations like these, and these. And every other one too. I'll show it like this. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Now I'll show you how to play this white tongue drum. Basically its layout is exactly the same as on this one, just with a slightly different tuning and more notes. The notes layout is also specific. The steps. However, the tongues themselves are smaller in size and therefore they are somewhat more grouped and arranged here, making these combinations quite handy, and they sound lovely because the note layout here is like that and it creates intervals. Fifths, well, it's not that vital. But just so you understand, on such a 15-note drum, I most often play every other tongue, and sometimes I even add the middle one with one hand. For example, with my right hand I can play See? It already has a chord-like sound. Not simultaneous, but as if with such a transition where these two tongues are played simultaneously, one between them. But these are kind of additional features, and everything else is the same. Well, you can even play two tongues next to each other and every other one, and hit them with a snap. So now as for this beat, you can gradually add some more tricks and more stuff to it. But as I already mentioned, start by just learning the most basic things to master your playing in a clean way. Then add a snap. To learn to play fast, it means you don't always have to play super fast. Sometimes you can just play within the composition, if I may say so. Add some of those fast things. Thank you everyone for watching. Please let us know what was clear to you and what was not. More videos will be released on our channel soon, so you will go on learning to play the tongue drum, explore new things, advance your playing technique and practice other pieces. Learn to improvise with all of this, or even learn to play some particular pieces, anything that you're interested in. We will read all your comments and create more content based on them. If it was helpful, please give us a like or leave a comment. Here was Alex from the KOSMOSKY team. Bye everyone!